The Biological Code Podcast, a podcast on Germanische Heilkunde. Today we're talking about Stye, also known as Chalasian. Eva's daughter Saskia was 13 years old and left-handed. Recently she had developed a lump on the outer part of her upper eyelid, about the size of a pea. At first, Eva wondered what it could be. Was it the tear gland? Or was it a stye? Saskia had already had the lump for more than 2 months, and for the past 2 to 3 weeks, a small swelling had also begun to appear on the same location on the right side, again on the outer part of the upper eyelid. Eva thought about it, but because she was still unsure, she decided to seek advice from someone who was more knowledgeable about Germanische Heilkunde. Does the area itch or hurt? She was asked. If it does, then the outer skin would be involved, and it would have to be a visual separation conflict. But that was not the case. That left only the dermis, which also includes the sweat glands and sebaceous glands. However, when the eyelid was lifted, there was no sign of pus or anything similar on the inside. That would have been a clear indication of a stye. The search continued. It is possible that your daughter responded with the significant biological special program of the sebaceous glands, which is being maintained in a hanging healing phase through tracks. This can lead to the development of what is known as the Chalasian, which is a variation of a stye. It appears as an inflamed lump on the eyelid and gradually enlarges during the hanging healing phase. Normally, this lump is not painful. The secretion produced by the sebaceous glands can no longer drain as it normally would and begins to accumulate. As a result, swelling develops, which may become red and create a sensation of pressure. Your daughter is only 13 years old. Is it possible that she had already developed an interest in the beauty craze promoted by the media? Could something have happened in this context that involved her eyelids, eyelashes, or eyebrows? For example, did she have her eyebrows plucked, and afterwards someone had made a hurtful comment such as, "What happened to you? You look awful." Ask your daughter whether anything similar has happened. Look for a conflict-related event involving her eyebrows or eyelashes. The event does not necessarily have to concern her directly. It is also possible that she experienced this potential sebaceous gland special program on behalf of someone else. And sure enough, there actually had been an incident of that kind. Eva remembered that Saskia had visited her friend and that the two girls had put on makeup together. Saskia later told her that they had accidentally mixed up their mascaras while applying their makeup. She also told her mother how disgusted she had been by her friend's makeup products because her friend did not take good care of them. The cosmetics were dirty, smeared, and caked with residue. Eva could still clearly remember how repulsed her daughter had been when she talked about it. Shortly afterward, the lump appeared on her eyelid. After some time, the lump disappeared again, but it returned soon afterward, and eventually, a lump developed on the right side as well. With these suggestions in mind, Eva decided to talk to her daughter once again and discuss these observations with her. In Germanische Heilkunde we know that the dermis, which includes both the sweat glands and the sebaceous glands, responds either to an attack conflict or to a soiling or disfigurement conflict. The issue always revolves around a perceived violation of physical integrity or bodily wholeness. Simply by understanding these connections, Saskia would likely be able to help herself. She would merely need to find a way to ensure that she never again uses her friend's makeup products by accident. If her friend had become programmed as a track for Saskia, one possible approach would be to suggest that her daughter throw away any makeup products that had been touched by her friend, with the promise that new ones would be purchased for her. But more likely, it was not the friend who had become the track, but rather her dirty makeup products. In that case, the solution would be even simpler. Saskia would merely need to make sure that such a mix-up of makeup products could never happen again. A few words about tracks. In a biological conflict, that is, a Dirk-Harmer syndrome, meeting the 3 criteria of being highly significant or dramatic for the individual, occurring unexpectedly, and being experienced in isolation, all sensory organs immediately go on high alert. This makes perfect sense. During a conflict, the individual needs to take in as much information as possible in order to maximize the chances of finding a solution. After all, significant biological special programs are designed to ensure the survival of the individual. Even though not every biological conflict is literally about survival, the underlying mechanisms are always the same. In other words, during a biological conflict, one or more tracks, that is, specific sensory impressions, can become programmed in and linked to the conflict. These tracks function as an early warning system, as if to say, be careful, something bad once happened under these circumstances. As a result, the special program is immediately reactivated, even though no new biological conflict has occurred. The trigger is simply the track itself. Since nothing harmful actually happens, the special program immediately returns to the healing phase. As a result, tracks such as pollen or certain foods can repeatedly put an individual back onto the same track, making it appear as though the healing phase never comes to an end. This is what is referred to as a hanging healing phase. Now back to Eva and her daughter Saskia. The original biological conflict involved the sebaceous glands of the left eye. For Saskia, who is left-handed, a conflict involving her friend would naturally be perceived on her partner's side, that is, on the left side. In addition, the issue was connected to applying makeup with mascara. Later, she also discovered a lump on her right eye. Saskia had perceived the conflict also locally. The makeup or mascara became a track and would therefore also affect her right eye. It always comes down to perception. This is exactly the same phenomenon we also see in acne, which is likewise a special program of the dermis. Eva then spoke with Saskia and explained the connections and possible ways to stop this hanging healing process. Within the next 7 days, the stye swelled significantly once again, and pus became visible. Eventually, the stye opened, and the pus was able to drain. After another 3 weeks, everything had healed completely, and nothing was left to be seen. What Eva found interesting about the whole situation was that, according to her own perception, Saskia herself handled her belongings rather carelessly. So it is not about whether it is objectively true that the items were dirty or not, but it's always and only about the individual perception at the moment of the biological conflict. With this knowledge, people can help one another, help that addresses the root cause. Learn to think biologically. The knowledge of Germanische Heilkunde belongs in every household. If you'd like to learn how to apply the 5 biological laws in everyday life, visit thebiologyproject.org. You can also find more about our association at urkraftleben.at. If you enjoyed this episode, feel free to subscribe. We're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Telegram, and Instagram. Thank you for listening. Until next time.